So I started as a doorman 6 years, as a matter of fact.
Caroline's Comedy
And,
Club.
yeah, Caroline's Comedy Club on Broadway. And I wound up a manager my last year, and that's the year that James came down. It was just a regular September day. I came into works managing. I walked downstairs because Caroline's, you got to descend. I don't know, you know it, Steve. You got to descend to the bottom.
I've been there.
It's like, yeah, you've been there, Michael, too. Yeah, about 3 stories or whatever it is. And James is hanging out at the bar. And I see him, and he sees me. And I may have seen him one or two times at Rudy's, because we used to hang out in Hell's Kitchen, you know. And we said hello and everything. And he had done True Romance, and I, congratulated him and stuff like that. But we really never kept in touch. But there was something about him. I knew that he was really good, And anyway, so he was down there at the bar hanging out, having a drink. I said, James, what are you doing? He said, I'm having a drink, but I got to ask you a question. I said, what? Do you want to audition for The Sopranos? And I said, holy shit, it's really? And he said, yes. So the rest is history. I mean, he had
The show
said
was
to me
already
that,
on the air? You knew the show?
Huh?
It was on the air at that time?
Yeah,
Was the
it
show
was on-
on
it
the
was
air
on
already?
two-
It was.
It was on 2 years. This is the 3rd season where I came in. And he asked me if I'd been acting. And I was in and out doing it, never really professionally on a professional basis. I mean, I did some extra work. Actually, I didn't like it. So I stopped doing that. But I would audition from time to time. Some people would ask me to audition. But never really, Sopranos was my really first professional job. So he asked me if I'd been acting. So, of course, I lied. I said, yeah, sure, I've been acting. You kidding me? What am I going to say? I haven't
Good
been.
answer.
So that's how it happened. And of course, Georgianne Walken, she was right across the street. She was on, because it was 1600 Broadway, her office was right down the block across from the Brill Building. So I took the audition, and I remember getting the sides, and I just stayed, because I had the keys to the place. I just stayed all night, or did an all-nighter before the audition. I mean, I had some time, but I still pulled an all-nighter. I locked the doors. Didn't have any alarms back then, just to lock the doors, and I went to the audition. So that's how it happened for me,
And so
in the New York Minute.
But Jim remembered you. So obviously there was something he liked about you. He remembers you. He
Yes.
comes back. How many years is it? It's quite a while. It's got to be 10 years or more.
Yes, it's about 8-9 years since he came back, because it was like, I mean, it was 2000 when I got on the show. So yeah, about 10 years. I mean, I was told, see, the thing is, a friend of mine at a party went up to him, my friend Gordy Silva, he's an actor too. He went up to him and said, if I was you, I would try to get my friend Bobby Funaro a job on Sopranos, because Gordon's got a really big set of Cleones, So Jimmy said, what do you mean, Bobby Funaro? Bobby Funaro? Yeah, you know him. You did the tour on in Scandinavia. Oh, how's Bobby doing? What's he doing? Oh, he's working on Caroline's on Broadway. Now, Gordon was a Caroline's on Broadway comedy club, and Gordon was a bartender he was a back bartender. And so he told me where I was working. So I guess the part came up, and James remembered. And I was told that Joe Fay was telling me that they went to he couldn't remember the comedy club. So Joe Fay, of course, his driver, great guy. You guys love him. And he went around to a few comedy clubs to find me, and he finally found the right one,
And so you get the role. You're a series regular. It's season 3.
Yes.
Eugene Pontecorvo. You make it up until what season? They killed you in the first episode
2006, yeah. 2006.
So you make it a long way. You make it a
Yes.
long way. You're in Ralphie's crew. So you work with
Yes.
Joey Pants a lot. You work with Joe Ganascoli a lot, right?
Yes.
You had some good stuff, because we're watching them now. And I kind of I forgot everything, to be honest. And there's
Me
some
too.
really good stuff there. And you work with Joey. What was that like, working with Joey Pants?
Tough. No, I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, it was a great experience. And with Joe, I mean, I remember him with the sides written all over the place, like Marlon Brando and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, finally it came to a head, I think. I'm not sure, and that stopped, you know what I mean? Because I heard it was stop on production a little bit. But he was it was a good experience with him. It was like a really, to tell you the truth, it was really like an apprenticeship, but it was the greatest apprenticeship an actor could ever have. I mean,
Sure.
I laddered up kind of in a way. I mean, the thing was, I was around, and it got better and better. Of course, little Carmine with the Snapple bottle. That was fun. But when Members Only came around, of course, I read that script and I said, well, this is a really great script. It allows me the opportunity to open up a bit and show the human side of myself. And I really identified with Eugene in his plight to try to get out. So, I mean, that was a really great ending for myself, because before then it was just the guy who hit the guy in the head with the Snapple bottle or did something else. Well, the
But you
Snapple
were
bottle was a
around.
big
You
thing.
were around a lot. You know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Bobby, how did David call you? Did you get that call, or did he tell you at the read through? How'd you find out you were getting killed?
I got the call. Well, first I started hearing rumors. Hey, Bobby, do you know that you're getting a wife on the show? Because someone was telling me she was auditioning for your wife. Hey, Bobby, you know you're getting a son? Hey, this is freaking great. I got a wife, I got a son. What's happening over here? You know, this is fantastic. And in the back of my mind, I said, well, we'll see what happens. So sometime before the show began, David gave me the call. And he said, I got great news for you, and I got bad news. What do you want first? I said, give me the good news. He said, we wrote a first episode, season 6. It's called Members Only. It's a great show. It's going to show what you can do. Your character, wants to get out, and all of a sudden he can't get out, and he kills himself. So you're dead. So I said, all right. So, that was the bad news. The great news was that, it was going to be a great episode for me. The bad news was that I was dead, and that was that.
I would have
But,
asked for
David,
the bad news
David's like
first.
a gnome.
I would have asked for the bad news first.